Patrick Pixley services the greater Orlando area as a native to the area. He's been in real estate since 2014 and was awarded by Orlando Real Estate Real Producers as one of the top 35 under 35 in Central Florida. Patrick has helped hundreds of buyers and sellers reach their goals, and he is known by his clients to go well above and beyond for all aspects of the transaction. So, Patrick, thank you for joining and sharing your journey in real estate so far with me today. I'm curious, going back to the very beginning, how did you get into real estate?
Yeah, well, thank you for taking the time today. So I started out, my family actually has been in real estate for a long time. My mom has owned multiple brokerages herself. She had one back where I grew up in like Mount Dora area, and then she had two in the Daytona Beach area. And now she still does real estate. She works and manages one of the Weichert real estate offices in back where I'm from. So, I started out. My brother also does real estate as well. So they, seeing them at dinners talking about all the money they're making and how exciting everything was. At the time, I was selling cell phones for Verizon and saying this is just not working for me. For some reason, I thought I wanted to not follow the family footsteps, but so since 2014, right about just a little bit over 10 years now, almost 11, I guess.
Very
Um,
good.
I went to UCF, so been in the Orlando, Central Florida area since college. Um, that's kind of the how it got started.
What did you study at UCF?
I did marketing and hospitality.
Okay. Did you have a plan of what you wanted your life trajectory to look like after that
I'd say there was definitely times where I thought I knew what I wanted to do. So before I got into real estate, when I was still doing the Verizon stuff, I was bartending, and so I was in the hospitality industry. There was times that I thought I wanted to continue doing that, some sort of restaurant management. Ultimately, the hours and everything of those just did not seem that exciting anymore.
Yeah, I understand. I can't blame you. I don't know how bartenders do it. Props to them. Uh,
Yeah, I guess it was nice starting out though.
yeah,
Obviously having that supplementary income when you're
yeah,
trying to build a real estate business. I feel like you find a lot of real estate agents that were bartenders or worked in the service industry at some point.
uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, it helps with your communication skills for sure.
Yeah.
So whenever you started in real estate, did you join the family team or did you go
So
solo?
yeah, so I was working with my brother when I first started. We stopped working together at beginning of 2020. He does more commercial stuff,
Mhm.
and I was leaning more into the residential side and just wasn't working to do the co-meshing, I guess you could say. So yeah, I switched brokerages to do more of the residential focused. They had a lot of technology and stuff that I was looking for compared to the other brokerage I was at.
That makes sense. So whenever you started in real estate, did you do commercial from the get-go or did you do residential?
Both, which and I still do. I still do a decent amount of both. So yeah, it was nice, kind of that the brokerage we were at was kind of geared towards both. So I got a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge in commercial and stuff. So I still do a little bit of commercial, as well as focusing on the residential side.
Okay. So on the residential side, do you remember where you got your first deal from?
Um, Man, I want to say it was from. I mean, I did a lot of stuff. My brother's 2 years older than me, so he was in the business 2 years prior to me. So he was already kind of well on his way. So I was doing a lot more for him. I did a lot of rentals. I want to say the first one came from my past broker. Just something. I think it was just an office lead or a walk-in that needed help selling their house. So
Yeah. Yeah, easy peasy. And then on the
yeah.
commercial side, was it a similar story? Like,
No, the commercial side, I did a lot more land stuff. I guess the craziest commercial deals, I actually ended up selling a church when I was with them, which that one was a office. Yes, the pastor walked into the office and said he needs to sell a church, and took some time, but yeah, we ended up getting it done. So pretty cool.
yeah, that's great.
Mhm.
So right before we started recording, I know that you mentioned that you previously tried out being a team leader. Now you're operating more of a solo. It seems like right, at least right now for your season of real estate, solo is what you prefer. What made you decide to stick for now to be a solo real estate agent?
Yeah, when I left my past brokerage and moved, I had a couple friends that were either, bartending or, people that were just getting their license, kind of wanting a little bit of guidance. Um, I guess I ultimately found out that, for it's hard for obviously still growing your own business, but trying to help others, get off
Hmm.
their get started in their business. It was kind of tough, obviously, and then those first couple of years, like 2021, 2022, they were doing pretty well too, because it's just the market was a little bit more easy to navigate than it is, and then since, yeah, it just kind of dissolved, not primarily by me, but they just ended up going back and doing different business ventures that they had previously done, or that they got a new opportunity in outside of real estate.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm getting distracted in the background. I'm just curious, is that a reflection of the TV or is that picture frame a looping video behind you?
Probably a reflection of the
Okay,
TV.
I didn't know if you had a fancy frame that was
No,
looping the video.
let me see if
How
that
funny.
helps.
Yeah, I didn't know if you. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
just curious. So what does your current, or do you have any support? Do you have any part-time or full-time
Yeah,
support?
so my wife has been, she works for a company called List to Close, but she's a full-time transaction coordinator. So not only obviously she does all of my transaction coordination, but she does a handful of other agents. And then I recently, with obviously your signing on with you guys and the other avenues I've kind of taken on as far as technology and lead sources, I've recently hired a VA with
Hmm.
Ravelworks, or yeah, right, Ravenworks. I always
Rebel, I think.
Revelworks. Yeah, sorry. So
Okay.
yeah, they've been great. I've learned and kind of I don't know if you were necessarily the first step, but I joined Tom Ferry exactly a year ago, so summit of last year. And one thing I've learned over this year is that I am very good at delegating other tasks that I'm not very good at, and CRM is being one of them. So
It's very freeing to do that. I have
yes,
kind of gotten addicted to it as well.
yeah,
You know what? I do a 40% good job, but I'm gonna hire someone who does a 90% good
right.
job.
And yeah, I think that you've been on a couple of, like, the street text, videos that we've done, or community talks, and I started up with them in like 2018, 2019.
Yeah,
And I'm like, I can't run these ads. Like, I'm
yeah,
not getting anything out of this. And he's like, we
yeah.
have someone that'll do it. I'm like, why didn't you tell me this before? So yeah, it's been again. I think that I'm good at the things I'm very good at, but yeah, there's definitely when I can just sit back and say, all right, please somebody take this task for me, and it's seemingly working out for sure.
That's great. So you had mentioned that it's been a pretty busy summer since, late spring. Do you know like your average volume that you do each year as a solo agent?
So average over the last couple years, I'm not exactly positive. I'd say that typically I'm between 15 and 20 million each year. Yeah, so far this year I just passed 10 million this year, so seemingly on the right track to kind of finish out,
Yeah.
somewhere in that relatively area.
Okay. And what is the average, if there is there an average price point in your area, or is it kind of all over the place?
Kind of all over the place, but that's one thing that I've been trying to focus on this year, is increasing my average price point. Last year
Mhm.
was kind of, it was a lot lower. I was, doing a lot more transactions than a lot of people that were, doing a lot more volume. So this year
Mhm.
I've really been focusing on, and I've increased it from, I was at about 400 last year, and I'm almost at like right around 700 this year. So
Very good.
close to doubling it.
Yeah.
So it definitely makes it a lot easier to do less work and make more money for sure.
Yes, definitely agreed. So, 15 to 20 million a
Mhm.
year. Do you know where the majority of that business comes from? You mentioned you're running
Yeah.
ads.
So the ads, I think, I've been kind of doing that for about 2 months now, just with a different ad. So I did, again, back kind of around COVID, I did a lot of Zillow, which was very good in those times. It has since died. So I stopped that in 2023. And I do track most of my sales, and it's I'd say probably about 90% repeat,
Mm-hmm.
or referrals, or referral exchange from other agents.
Yeah. Very good.
Again, hopefully the lead stuff kind of takes up a little bit more of that percentage, but yeah, for right now, it's been pretty much past clients, sphere, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. The life cycle, or I guess the ROI of an online lead is very much far out, at
Yeah,
least
it takes some
market
time.
value.
Yeah.
And it takes not only time, but it takes a lot of persistence as well, which I'm sure
Hmm.
you've learned and experienced with um, adding on street text to your tech stack and
Yeah.
attending those calls. So you use street text for a lead generation.
Hmm.
Can you share an overview of other technologies that you use for your business?
Yeah, so it's all of it has kind of again, I again have been I've tried out everything under the sun. I feel like in the last 10, 11 years, as far as lead generation, spent a lot of money on a lot of things and were big failures. But so right now, kind of where what I have is I have Follow Up Boss for CRM. I have Street Text for the leads. I have Real Scout that really works well with the Follow Up Boss as far as the home value. It's really nice to be able to track, what people are looking at when they look at their home value. Um, Obviously, then I also just recently had Smart Alto come on board and kind of do their AI-backed, I guess, information generator. So, and all of that kind of coexisting in the back, doing its own thing, along with the drip campaigns, everything that your team has set up. It's kind of the VA virtual assistant kind of gets the contact, and she lets me know when I have appointments set up. So it's all kind of just working seamlessly in the background, and I get 2 or 3 separate appointments a week at this point, which pretty impressive, I think.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Mm.
So starting from the top of street text, what has your experience been like with street text so far?
Yes, so again, I did it, I think it was 2018, 2019. Marcus, who works with Street Text, had brought me, or showed me everything, and I thought it was great. Obviously, they've grown since I started with them, and I've grown since I was with them. I don't know if it was just the wrong place, wrong time, but obviously their technology has gotten a lot better, and my understanding of again having did their team run the ads and do the ones that are performing the best. It just takes a lot of time off my hands, but also too doing it the right way. I think that paying a little bit more to have it done the right way compared to me just fiddling around with it is the smarter route. And they do great. They have them set up that it's looking for buyer leads, but it's also basically buyer leads that are needing to sell. So that's I think again for 2 months I've had a few appointments. I have another one that this Friday that's looking to sell and buy. So I mean, if I can get one in the first 2 months, I think that's obviously a win.
Yeah. And then you mentioned Real Scout, that you like their home value tool. So can you share what Real Scout is for you and your technology and what your experience has been like with them?
Yeah, so I met them at the Elite Retreat for Tom Ferry this year. It kind of really just all coexists very well with Follow Boss. I put one person into the CRM, or automatically gets sent over from Street Text or wherever it may be, and they automatically set them up, and it seems simultaneously goes from one system to the next. Um, that one, it's nice to be able to track people what they're looking at, even if it's current clients that have signed up for it. But even like the new leads that don't say I'm not interested. I'm like, well, you looked at a house 13 times today, so
Yeah, activity
it's
proves otherwise.
right. And same thing with the home valuation. I think that I think I have around 300 people that are signed up for their home evaluation. So seeing when they go in and look at that can just kind of gives me another reason to reach out.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's again kind of just everything just working in the background simultaneously has been really nice.
Yeah. And then what led you to decide to add on Smart Alto? What do they do for you?
Yeah, I actually watched one of his interviews. I don't know if it was with Real Scout or which group it was. They had a kind of video with Hassan on it, and it it's very inexpensive for seemingly the quality of product that it is. But yeah, it just but the way it brings in information that you can't necessarily get, with just having a name and an email address, and then it can tell me exactly where they live, how long they live there. Kind of creepy in a little way, but it's very helpful for sure.
So let's talk about the core of all of your technology in your business, that being your CRM. So
Mhm.
how did you find Follow Up Boss, and what made you decide to select Follow Up Boss as your CRM?
Another one that I used for a boss years ago. I've never been very good at my CRM, as again why I'm talking with you is I've just never been good at keeping up with it and keeping it my main focus. And I think it's just it was something that just became overwhelming to me, and I just would use an Excel spreadsheet and just keep the people and obviously not the best practice. So I haven't. There's been a couple other CRMs. Honestly, I can't remember exactly the names of them that I've used. I think I've gone back in and set up and disconnected Follow Up Boss 3 or 4 times, but I think it's here to stay at this point now.
How long have you been using Follow Up Boss?
I think about a year now. Again, like in total from when I re-signed back up with them.
Got it.
Mhm.
Do you remember how did you and I originally get connected?
My coach, Jason DeLate with Tom Perry, kind of is like, I was telling him, I'm like, listen, he's like, you need to obviously, really get your CRM cleaned up, and that's what you need to kind of be living. And I'm like, listen, I don't have the time, and every time I go into it, I don't know, it just scares me. So I just exit out and just never touch it again. And he's like, well, have you, looked at Elena's, and everything? And I was like, no, I haven't. So I did I think the first kind of just initial walkthrough video, and kind of it was what I was exactly looking for. I needed someone to kind of just set it up for me and let it kind of work its own magic.
So from the time that you joined Follow Boss and you were tinkering around, and then you were introduced to our team through your coach, what has changed in your Follow Boss?
Yeah, I use it. I mean, I actually use it every day. I go in and check who's doing what, or what and also ultimately too, it also goes very well for hiring the virtual assistant, where she can go in, ultimately leave notes, send me different things about specific people. Um, it's very it's very nice. Yeah, I'm not I guess terrified to be inside of it using my own CRM instead of just wondering what I'm supposed to be doing with it now.
And do you remember? So you've been using Follow Boss for about a year.
Mhm.
Do you know about how long we've been working together and you've been using the setup?
Um, Probably. I mean, it wasn't too far after. I want to say that probably if that was last August, I'd say it was probably November, December, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, because
And
again, I was like, there was another thing. I was like, listen, I don't want to pay for Follow Up Boss, like if I'm not going to be using it. He's like, well, try this out. So,
right, yeah, gonna get the same results no matter what CRM you try unless
right,
you change something.
yeah.
Um, so you mentioned that your virtual assistant is helping book appointments for you and they're working
Mhm.
in your CRM and putting in notes. What other sorts of results have you seen with the setup, whether it's results from automations or results from your day-to-day workflow? What does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, I am seeing, and again, it's a lot more of the past clients that will respond to certain, emails about stuff, and it's not, I feel like I see people having activity inside, and engaging with, stuff that we've, send or set up for them, compared to, you send out a flyer, you have no idea if that person's ever looked at it, seen it, done anything with it. With that, you can kind of see when they, I guess, open it, or if they, obviously, if they respond back to whatever it is. Obviously, it shows that they're actually engaging with whatever we're sending out.
Hmm. So I'm going to change subjects and put you on the spot a little bit. So you may have
Yeah.
to think about this one. It's the last question for you before
Okay.
we go. Um, is what one specific strategy or tip have you implemented in your real estate business that's had an impact in some way? It doesn't have to be Follow Up Boss. It doesn't have to be technology. If it is, that's great. But in some way, whether it's managing your client retention, you mentioned like 90% of your business is through repeat referral, or just overall business growth. What is one tip you can think of that has helped your business?
Answer the phone.
Answer the phone,
Yeah.
not call, but answer your phone.
But yeah, I guess it's just a big stigma of just real estate agents are impossible to get in contact with. So I think that it sounds pretty simple, but you'd be surprised how many other agents do not answer or respond to people. It's pretty. I think that I'm very good at, and even my friends say that I'm very good at keeping in touch, even outside of work stuff. I'm very good at just never losing contact with people. I still talk with handful of people from high school, from college, and everything. It's just been I don't know if it's a stigma of mine that I just don't want to lose touch with anybody, but that's kind of yeah. I like to make sure that I'm still in contact with everybody, including my clients and sphere.
Yeah. So your past clients in Sphere, do they contact you and call you?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think I'm leading that charge for the most part. But yes, they still reach out to me as well.
That's great. What do those conversations usually go? How do they flow?
Um, I guess it depends on what it is that they're calling about. A lot of times it's I try and make it light. Not that I'm trying to ask for any sort of business for the most part. Just kind of seeing, I guess, if they need anything, help with just anything. If it's refinancing or if it's, just how's the house going? Have you made any changes, etc.
That's great. Well, that's great to hear that you have people calling you. I think you're the
Yeah,
first person I've talked to where people are actively calling you. I know that you mentioned you're probably doing the heavy lifting on that, but that's
right. Yeah, yeah.
people are calling you and reciprocating that a little bit.
Hmm.
Well, thank you, Patrick. I
Yeah,
appreciate your time and your
absolutely.
insights, and thank you for sharing your story and journey so far.
Absolutely appreciate you and everything your team's done.
Thanks, Patrick. I'm sure
Yep.
we'll keep in touch again.
All right.
Bye bye.